You're now listening to the Shift Training Show. We're focused on improving the quality of human interaction. I'm your host. My name is Flip.
My name is Vaughn. I'll be your co-host.
Okay. Today, what are we talking about, Vaughn?
We are going to be talking about how to be a real man, or
what does it mean to be a real man? It's a very interesting topic, especially currently all the masculinity, blah, 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 manosphere, all that goof talk. But let's talk about it.
All right, let's talk about it. Well, okay, so I think masculinity have that misconstrued information nowadays. I think there's just so many information, right? But I think from what I heard, a lot masculinity is about, having the money or emotionless or be dominant. But I think for me personally, I think being a real man is someone who's taking responsibility for themselves. And if you can take responsibility for yourself, that means you can take responsibility of others.
100%. I will also want to give this caveat before we just start going unhinged, because I kind of want to pop off, but I want to give the disclaimer right now because I don't want to be giving disclaimers throughout the whole thing. So let me make this clear. There are some things that we're going to say that are not gender specific, that everybody needs to be good at, like taking responsibility for their nonsense, straight up. But we're not worried about that. It's for the fellas. So we're talking about what it means to be a man. And if ladies, you're interested in what it means to be a man, maybe you might want to take on this perception as well. So when you're evaluating, is this a man or a real man? Do I want to be around this man or not? Maybe you can get behind this, co-sign it. Let us know in the comments. But I want to go ahead and give that disclaimer now. So now we can get into straight man talk. Okay.
All right. Let's get it.
All right, bet. So I agree with that. I think that to me, what makes me respect another man the most, there's a few things. I do believe that, responsibility and accountability. Like if you take responsibility for certain stuff, but you want to keep it to yourself and you don't want anyone to call you out, you suck, you're weak, you're not a man. I mean it. I said it right now on the podcast. I mean it. That's weak. That's whack. Part of being a man is, yes, we're supposed to be strong. It doesn't mean we don't have weak moments. It doesn't mean we don't get whooped. It doesn't mean we don't feel. It doesn't mean we don't need somebody to talk to. That's not what that means. But to me, strength means we have to have the willingness to proceed, to carry forward, to find a way. Even if we got to take a knee first, catch a breath, talk to a therapist, whatever it is, but we're aiming to get back on the path. You can't abandon yourself. You can't give up. There's no surrender in that. To me, that equates to failure. That equates to being quote unquote weak. And any man will tell you, like, maybe ladies don't get this, but for a man, like the idea of us being weak is like very provocative. Like, that's like bad juju, bad news. So I would say responsibility, accountability, the willingness to proceed in the face of adversity or challenges. Courage is a big factor. We can't be like Courage the Cowardly Dog, but we do need to be courageous. Providing. I do think providing or provision, being resourceful is an important thing for a man. I don't care what anybody says. I still think that's important. And what else, Fon? What were we out to?
Yeah, I mean, just going back to what you just said in regards of responsibility, I think I can, say in a general term, which is like, responsibility, just to have more example, is responsible for your health. Are you somebody who works out 3 to 5 times a week? Are you somebody who's putting, nutritious food to your body? Because whatever you put in your body is what's, going to show on the outside. Are you somebody who's, taking care of their finance, not impulsively buying? Are you somebody who's doing the savings and investing so for your future? And I think, how boys, they always blame the outside circumstance. And I think once you become a man, it's when you start asking yourself, what can I do about this? Or how can I get better? So a good analogy of this is that, let's say you're the driver, right, of the car. Doesn't matter. The weather is bad or the traffic, you're in control of that. And I think another factor of that, which reminds me, is I think emotional maturity. So what I mean by that is, like we talked about earlier, you definitely going to feel, sadness, disappointment, anger, rage. However, you don't want that to control you. To be a man, you have the ability to control, like acknowledge it, but it doesn't control you. Like, for example, a fire in your house, a fire, not a fire in your house. Think of it like a fire, you can cook food
Mhm.
and it can also burn down your house depending on how you handle it.
Yeah, for sure. I would say a lot of that to me just boils down or can be easily taken care of if you honor your word. So responsibility to me is easy. It's honor your word.
Honorable. Yeah.
I think if you don't do that, like you're missing it. You're just missing it, period.
Hmm.
I want to X. That's cool. That's nice. I am going to X. Okay.
Hmm.
I am doing X. You're presently doing it. Like there's levels to this. So like saying I want to me is like, that sounds good.
Yeah.
It's cool that you want to. The moment I hear you say language like, I am going to, yes, I will. Now we're talking. Now I'm
Hmm.
listening
Yeah.
because you just said something to me, which was a statement. That
Hmm.
statement is, I am ready to take responsibility for X. Now I'm going, okay, I will find out if you're a man or not when I say, hey, how's that going? And your response will tell me whether you're a man or you're still a boy, whether you're going to look for reasons to point outside of yourself or whether you're going to say, yes, I've run into a little challenges, few challenges like X, Y, and Z. However, I'm still doing this like this
Hmm.
and I'm planning to address the challenges as such. There's nothing wrong with saying
Hmm.
what you're encountering. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But if you try to say what you're encountering is the reason why you had to lower the standard or go lower than the bar you set when you said, I will, that is
Hmm.
unacceptable. That to me is the weakness. That is diminishing your ability to rise to the occasion. That is weakening your soul. That is reducing your self-esteem, your
Hmm.
self-credit, all those things. That's why not honoring your word to me is one of the weakest things you can do as a man.
Yeah. If you don't do the promises that you told yourself,
Or to anyone else. Like,
to anyone else,
what
yeah,
is it? What good is what you're saying then? We just might as well stop
exactly.
talking.
It loses your credibility.
100. The weight of your word
Yeah,
becomes zero.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else, Vaughn? What else does it mean to be a
Well, let's
man?
see. I think being a man means also to, provide, like what you said, or protect, or
Both.
leadership.
Both. All
Yeah,
three.
yeah, all three. I think someone who can lead the group or people around them in a way that's not emotionally, chaotic. Is someone who's like an anchor, like a stability.
Let's try it like this. I heard a lot of men in particular, some of my friends say things about wanting to be treated like a king.
Dang, king.
Okay, so I know king-like behavior. I'm gonna give you an example. Someone who would be a respectable king. They talk about a warrior king. Well, the warrior king is respected because the warrior king got hands and he'll fight. But more importantly, it means he's about the action. He's not finna have you do anything that he's not willing to do himself. Now, maybe after he proves himself,
Mm-hmm.
he got to stay back because strategically it makes sense for him to stay in the cut because he has a different viewpoint and we need him to stay on top.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. However, it's still leadership, leading towards providing. Well, providing comes after provision. So he's got to lead into the land of provision, acquire and provide. Now, once he provides, he needs to protect. Why? Because it's not just the resources that he's trying to provide, but protection is literally maintaining the peace that he went to go provide. So he went to go provision this. We're going to create a system of peace, but it's not for him to enjoy. He will enjoy it, but it's not just for him to enjoy.
It's for others.
That's right. It's for the people within his kingdom. So, for example, if you are not trying to better yourself in service of others, yes, you will benefit. Yes, you will still serve yourself. There's no neglecting ourselves here, men. That's not reasonable. But you have
Mm-hmm.
to build yourself up, edify yourself, still with the intent of service. You're going to provision so you can provide, and you're going to protect what you have just created. And you can continue to do so as many times as you need to. But I think if that's not what you're thinking, in your circle of friends, in your circle of influence, in your family, you will not feel like a king or deserve to be treated as such because
Mm-hmm.
you have not earned it. You have not become that type of person. So, yes, that is a lot of pressure or weight. And I do want you to know that it's possible. I want you to know that it's doable. And I don't want you to feel like, and notice I said, I don't want you to feel. I'm concerned with how fellow men feel. I also go, remember, your feelings are not allowed to rule you. Anything other than purpose is not allowed to rule you
Mm-hmm.
if you're a man.
Damn. So you're saying it's all about what's important, not just your feeling.
I would say your feelings matter, they count.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, feelings are temporary. It is literally a sensation we're experiencing in our body.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that sometimes we might not understand that the loops that repeat are heavily influenced by other factors that we can actually do something about. And I also know that it's very common for a lot of men to keep things to themselves, to carry the burden alone, to not have a friend or brother that they can tell without being clowned. And basically, sometimes this is where we have to be mindful. There's a difference between joking or roasting, because roasting and playing, there's a time and place, but knowing when to not joke or roast, because when you do that at the wrong time, all you're doing is exacerbating shame.
Yeah.
You're making shame around a subject worse. So you really, this is where building our social awareness helps, especially with each other. You got to be like, hey, dog, look, right now?
Yeah.
Not right now.
Not right now.
Yeah. You got to know when to switch it up.
Yeah, I think that's very important. Like, once that shame is all like amplified, it's really hard to get out of that.
Yeah. And sometimes the jokes make it easier for something to be more bearable.
Yeah.
Makes the medicine go down a little bit sometimes, you know? Yeah. What else, Vaughn? What's something else that you think that young men might need to keep in consideration that maybe they're not, especially when it comes to like dating or interacting with women? What do you think is something that most young men are just not, it's not even on their radar?
I think, I don't know if we already covered this, but having a purpose in life, like have some sort of like destination where you want it to go. I think that's very important for men, especially, you know, because without that, they are just running in a loop.
Yeah, being aimless.
Yeah.
Being aimless is pretty whack. I've had seasons of that in my life. It is a forbidden, not allowed thing ever in my life again. So being aimless is pretty whack. I can attest to that for sure.
Yeah, just like being in the desert in the middle of nowhere and know some sort of direction where to go.
Yeah. And not even that, just not even having a desire to go somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Just because everywhere you look, there's nothing else worth doing. Just might as well just lay on the floor. Yeah, that's challenging. I feel like one of the things that young men should be wary of are entitlements. If you start to feel entitled to something that you haven't worked for, I think you need to try to ask yourself where that comes from, and you want to figure it out. At this point in my life, I have a good understanding of when I start to feel that, and I just try to abolish it immediately. I just want to get it off me, because the moment you start having that, it easily goes from entitlement to why me or why not me. We get into the victim mindset. We get into all this other stuff that's not helpful for you getting closer to the thing that you're complaining that you don't have. So if you feel like you want something and you're not getting it, or you're like, oh, well, I did this. So, you know, talking to so-and-so, this girl should act like what, like, if you don't shut your goofy mouth, I'm not even playing. If you don't shut your goofy mouth right now, I think that's something to be mindful of. And I think another practice for all people, but especially men and young men, I think men, if we run into a wall enough, we'll accept something. We'll just be like, you know what, it just is what it is, and we'll move on. But I think for young men in particular, sometimes there are some things they're not willing to accept. And usually the things that are most painful, are most linked to our childhood, our past, are the hardest things for us to just accept and make peace with and just say, it's okay. I think that's something I would advise them to try to figure out or get better at quicker. The sooner you can get to the accepting the things that seem to trouble you or create an issue, I think the easier it's going to be for you to navigate life.
Yeah, I think the faster you accept things happen from the past, I think the faster you stop arguing with reality.
Yeah. Or accept things that from your past, or even things that are happening in the present that you don't like. Like, I'm not saying be passive, because remember, we're supposed to be agents of change. We're supposed to do something. There's stuff that we can influence, but understanding where, like, this is easy math. I'll give you an example. We're going to do analogy time. I know Vaughn likes analogies, so we're going to do analogies.
It's easier to understand.
All right, analogy time. So if you work out, you have a good idea of how much you can or cannot lift. If you don't lift, you don't have a clue.
Right.
So one, you got to be in the game to build some level of awareness. You got to be working on yourself to some degree. Now, that's just to set the context. If I say to you, here is your friend can lift 350 pounds in any lift you choose. Doesn't matter. Excuse the horn. And in anything you choose, your friend can lift 350 pounds and you can only lift 200 pounds. You're fighting for the 250, right? You're fighting for the 250, but the way that that's looking is looking like, man, if you don't ask your friend to spot you right now, that's just going to crush your sternum. But something in you is telling you, I can't let this go. I can't surrender. I have to do it or fail on my own. That's ego. That's some nonsense. That's some pride that doesn't fit. After your sternum gets crushed, you're going to feel dumb. You're going to have even more recovery time, and you're not going to make progress. It'll be a long time before you get where you got to go. Versus if you just said, okay, it's really about to drop on my chest. Friend, help me, spot me. And the friend who can lift to 350 is like, yeah, bro, I got you. It's cool, homie. We're going to we'll lighten it up a little bit and we'll try again. That's what you need sometimes in your life, is to really understand your capacity. Sometimes we are fighting something, not realizing, bro, I'm ill-equipped. I don't even need to be having this argument or this fight or resisting this thing. I literally don't have the influence. Like, oh, I'm mad about something with my boss or whatever. Okay, what can you do about it? X, Y, Z. Are you ready to run any of those plays right now? No. Then you need to accept what's happening, because you cannot do anything. And though that sucks, you're not in that position. You're going to waste your energy. You're going to waste your time. You're going to waste your life. Get in the game, start working on plan X, Y, or Z if you want to make a change. Very simple. I think for us, for people in general, that's hard to accept. But I also think for young men, because we have a lot of proving ourselves to do. We have to prove our worth. We have to prove our value, right? So I think sometimes being more mindful about how you do that, being a little more strategic, might be the case. And then there's also times where you just got to pop off and find out.
Yeah, just experience it.
Rarely. Don't do that too much. I'm going to say rarely. The amount of times you're going to get punched in the chest for that is not good. It's not worth it. So every once in a while.
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes they just have to wake up in reality.
Yeah, the reality wake you up real quick. Cool. Yeah, so fellas, if if your goal is to be more masculine, more manly, I think being clear about what you want, having a clear aim, a purpose. Wow, like that. I like that over there. I'm not sure how I'm going to get there. No. I like that over there. I think I'm not 100% sure about how to get there, but I'm looking at this option, this option, this option. Let me start refining that plan. Now you're on the path. I think, no. I will do X, Y, Z this. Hold yourself to that standard. Tell somebody else too if you need to. Now you're rising to the occasion. There are steps. So this comes back to what people sometimes say, step boldly. Just be bold.
What does that mean?
Exactly. What does that mean? I think in order to be bold, sometimes people require more clarity. Some people say maybe they want you to fake it or pretend it, have the energy. And I'm like, the energy without any structure just flies all over the place and lights things on fire. It's not good. Aim it, focus it, make an effort to be clear. And I also know, like, based on conversations that we've heard from some of the favorite female senseis or some of their relationship podcasts, or even from some of our female friends, it's like, when you lead, if you're clear, if it's well-intentioned, all these different things, at that point, you've done everything you've done. The rest is whatever decision that she makes, but you've done what you're supposed to do, and you should feel good about it.
Yeah, as a
but
man.
if exactly.
But if you leave something on the table, then that's where you feel, something missing here.
100%
as well.
Or if something goes really poorly,
Yeah.
just because you didn't spend 15 minutes thinking about it ahead of time.
Yeah.
You're going to feel like, dang, I blew that one. Yeah. So I would say, I encourage you to choose wisely, develop that emotional maturity like Vaughn is talking about, because that's essential for being able to navigate life well, and for even being able to choose good values that will help you grow. I think that's important as a man too.
Yeah, exactly. I think since we talk about podcasts, there's this one podcast that just popped in my head. Basically, in How to Be a Man, there's 3 things. Number 1 was just having a thick skin. Like, I think what stopping most people, not just men in general, I think everyone, is, the fear of judgment on what they think of them. And 2 is, for a man, you need to have a purpose. And 3rd, you're happy, have that enthusiasm chasing that goal.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Is there anything else we want to put them on game or talk about?
Oh, let's see. What else is out there?
I think that's it. I think that's pretty good. That's a good summary. If you guys want to talk about something more about this or specific, or have comments or questions, let us know. We'd love to discuss this further. Fellas, maybe we should get together. Maybe we should have like a little dinner, talk about some real stuff that we can't talk about with the ladies. Let us know if you're interested in that. We'd love to put something together and host something for you guys.
Yep.
All right, cool. Any questions, comments, anything left?
That would be it for us.
All right, everybody. We hope to see you in the next episode. Take care.